Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to I Care About You, the podcast where we explore simple, powerful ways to treat ourselves with care and to build a foundation of positive self-belief. I'm your host, Juliana J, and today we're talking about 5 gentle yet effective approaches to being good to yourself and nurturing uplifting self-talk. Now, many of us don't really realize how often we treat ourselves poorly, and a lot of what is going around in our heads is not positive, let alone even true. Like for me, a few of these self-talk that's negative, that comes around all the time in my brain, almost daily, I would say, multiple times a day, depending on what's happening, is I can't do it. I'm not smart enough. People aren't going to take me seriously. I don't know what I'm doing. All of these things roll around in my brain all the time, regardless of what I'm doing. It could be me at work. It could be me the first time at a store or a place I've never been before. It could be me talking to people at a party that I don't know very well, or even people I know very well. All of this comes up, this negative self-talk. And I didn't really realize it was so prominent in my mind until I started exploring it and trying to shift some of those internal narratives that I have into something that's more empowering for me. So let's talk about how we can do that for ourselves, how we can shift that negative self-talk into something that's more inspiring, uplifting, and positive overall. The first thing is to practice self-compassion. Now, most of us don't really know that we need to do this. We've never been taught to do this. This is all about treating yourself with the same kindness and care that you would treat a good friend or your BFF or a close family member or your children or your partner. How you treat others really affects how they go through life, and it is affirming for you as a person. But we often don't turn that compassion to ourselves ever. Instead, we are overly critical of ourselves. So it's learning to find some self-compassion. Self-compassion includes being kind to yourself at times during suffering, recognizing your shared human experience, and maintaining mindful awareness of negative emotions. It can also be just being able to say simple things to yourself, like after you make a mistake, to have the same language to yourself that you would a dear friend. Not language like, you stupid fool, you did that? I can't believe it. I'm so embarrassed. Oh my gosh, you should not be doing this, because you can't. A lot of time, that is the self-talk that I go to first. Instead of like, oh, you made a mistake. It's okay. People make mistakes. We're human. No one's perfect. How can we rectify this mistake or fix it or do something about it? What needs to happen? But first and foremost, it's okay that you made a mistake, because everyone makes mistakes. That's part of the human experience. So to be able to have that more compassionate talk towards yourself is so important. It links to stronger psychological health, resilience, and emotional stability. If you're able to self-soothe with positive self-talk, you are more emotionally stable. How many times have you made a mistake and you start to hyperventilate and freak out and you think the world's going to end and the worst possible things are going to happen? You're going to get fired. You're going to lose your relationship. People will hate you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to lose your house. The whole world is going to come crumbling down. You go straight to these negative scenarios that are huge, and that emotional stability is now, you've tipped it over. And that's really challenging when you're at work or in some sort of situation where a crisis is happening and you need to be able to work through it and to speak with people in a certain way and to maintain your own safety and your own security and to be able to use your brain functionally to come up with solutions or fixes. And you can't do that when you're spiraling. It also helps with resilience, which is really important. When I was younger, I didn't have that much of a resilience ability, I would say. If something bad happened, I just wanted to run away. And a lot of the times I did. I just ran away from it. I I didn't have the resiliency to work with it, to bounce back from it, to grow from it, to become more informed through it. I just ran away because I didn't have the resiliency to transform things that happened into new opportunities that were happier or that had better outcomes. And as a consequence, my psychological health would suffer because when you don't have resilience, you can't weather a challenging time and you just go into this spiral of all kinds of negative emotions and thoughts. So learning how to cultivate self-compassion is a really important part of being successful in life. Here's a quick exercise you can do around self compassion. Pause and acknowledge the tough feeling. I feel anxious right now. I feel worried right now. A lot of anxiety is presenting itself right now. And remind yourself that suffering is human and respond with gentle reassurance. So the next time something presents itself, pause. Acknowledge the feelings. I'm feeling anxious right now. I'm feeling worried right now. I feel unsafe right now. And remind yourself that suffering is human, mistakes happen, grief happens, difficult emotions happen, and respond with some gentle reassurance. You don't have to be toxic positivity and rose colored glasses and all that, but you could be like, don't worry. Other people have made these types of mistakes, and we can figure it out. You can get help. You can ask for guidance. You can fix this. So many other people have accidentally sent the wrong email to the wrong person. It's not the first time this has happened. And the person who you sent the email to also probably has done this before. Just reach out and fix it. Sometimes it's really important to have a mentor or a buddy that you can work on these problems with. If you know someone who is struggling with the similar things that you are, you can be in a buddy system with one another where you come to each other to figure out how to respond with gentle reassurance when things happen, or a mentor in the work world or wherever who can help you when problems arise. It makes you feel like you're not alone. And that's the big thing here with the self-compassion is remember that you are not alone. You're not the first person to do this. You won't be the last person to be moving through this experience, and you're not alone. Now, the second thing that you can do to reframe your negative thoughts is to use positive affirmations. This helps reshape your self talk. We often criticize ourselves more harshly than we ever would to other people. Catch the negative thoughts like, I can't do this, and constantly reframe them. Like, I can't do this, I reframe to, I can learn how to do this. I can get better. I can grow through this. I can do this. It's going to take some work, but I can do this. I can learn something from this experience. This is not happening to me because I am a bad person or I'm not worthy of something good happening. Recently, this just happened to me. Something I was really thinking was a sure thing and was going to happen and I was really excited about actually didn't happen. And I was pretty disappointed because I had relied on it for these other things I was going to do, and it didn't happen. And it was really hard. And I felt like, "Ugh, I'm just not worthy. I'm just so dumb. Nobody wants me." All the things that constantly come up that I've been cultivating for decades of my life. And I stopped and I went, I can reframe this. This is a learning experience for me, and I can learn something and I can get better. And I do firmly believe that something better is waiting for me, and I just have to keep looking. Don't stop. Using affirmations helps reinforce self esteem, while practicing gratitude focuses on what you lack to what you have. So, affirmations like, I am worthy, I can do this, I matter, are very important. You would be amazed at the profound differences that can come across your life when you use these affirmations regularly. Also, finding gratitude. Recently, a friend told me, because I've been gratitude journaling for a very long time now. And we were talking about it. And she said, I've started just being thankful for the things that I totally overlook in life. Like I'm thankful for a fork. I'm thankful plates exist. I'm thankful for toilet paper. And it's been really fun to realize how many things I'm actually thankful for that I never thought of. I was always looking at these bigger things that happened to me that made me feel good, or people in my life or animals in my life that came around. And to find gratitude for the simple, small things in life is really amazing. So, this exercise around affirmations and gratitude involves creating your own affirmations like, I am enough, I am resilient, I can do this, I am capable of learning, and place them where you can see them often and say them often. Because the thing about affirmations is saying them often, having a repetitive kind of practice around them so that you're doing and saying them frequently, thinking about them frequently, maybe even writing about them frequently is important. And that is the power also of the gratitude journal, to be able to have a practice where you're being thankful for things will eventually just bring it into your daily life without you having to do much work. It just will naturally start happening. So that is the power of affirmations and gratitude. The third thing you can do, which we talk about a lot, is self care practices. Caring for your body, your mind, and your spirit is a profound way to affirm to yourself that you matter. Self care is more than indulgence, it's self respect. And I really learned this from Jonathan Van Ness. He talks a lot about self care and that it's not this indulgence, this thing we do because we are conceited or anything like that. It's really about self respect. And I notice this a lot in friends of mine who don't have much self respect. They often don't have the best hygiene. They often don't do the little things for themselves that make them feel positive and good about who they are and how they're showing up in the world, and just all those things. Simple routines like showering, journaling, restful sleep, hydration, nutritious meals, hobbies boost your well being. They're important, and all those things are part of self care. Taking the time to do the things you love is an act of self care. Taking good care of your body, your mind, and your spirit is an act of self care. Getting good sleep, which is something many of us do not do, is a really fantastic self care practice that I started doing along with hydration. I never really took that seriously either. And just those two things are incredible, incredible. It's changed my life. Getting good sleep has changed my life. I cannot talk about it enough. Also, hydration, just things like that. You don't have to do really big, elaborate self care rituals, although those are fun too. You can do simple things that just reinforce to yourself that you matter. One really big thing that Americans at least don't do that much of is taking a break, having nothing days, spending time outside or in creative pursuits to nurture your emotional resilience. So, taking a break, taking time is an act of self care. Even if it's something like, I'm going to go outside for 5 minutes in the middle of my workday, I'm going to take a 5 minute break and go outside and really just try to be present with the nature that's around me in the moment. Or a lot of people do this when they get home from their commute, they turn everything off and they just sit in the car for a couple minutes, being present in their body before they transition to their home life. You can take small breaks like that, big breaks like vacations or retreats. I was just on a retreat a week or so ago, and I was really stressed about it because I felt like I didn't have time to go on a retreat, and it was indulgent and all those things you tell yourself that aren't true. But in all reality, it was one of the best things I ever did. Incredible, incredible, and a beautiful act of self care. It was radical self care for me because I had so much negative self talk around taking that time for myself and that it was indulgent. So here's an exercise you can do with self care: build a self care plan. Perhaps you commit to a 10-minute walk once a week, or gratitude journaling, or maybe it's a soothing bath once a month or something like that. I mean, in addition to regular hygiene, something above that. Maybe it's sitting outside or sitting by yourself for a couple of minutes. Maybe it's other things like one act of self care I often did when I went into an office every single day was to get really nice tea and condiments. And I had those in the kitchen at work. And during my workday, I would take a moment to brew myself a cup of this tea that I didn't have at home or anywhere else. And it was just this act of self care because my job was brutal, like brutal. And just being able to offer yourself something of great beauty is really important. And I don't necessarily mean, oh, I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to scroll through TikTok or something like that. I'm more so talking about what truly feeds your soul, not just occupies your time. What feeds your soul? And that might be a little bit different than what do you do when you're waiting in line at the grocery store? Different things there. So, the fourth thing you can do is set achievable goals and celebrate small wins. I talk about this all the time, how important it is to celebrate your small wins and setting goals that are achievable. There's a lot of ways you can do that. I usually talk about that in December and January quite a lot. I've done a lot of podcasts on goal setting and mini goals and big goals and how to achieve them and how to stay focused and everything like that. But here I'm talking about small, achievable goals and then celebrating them. A little progress goes a long way. Setting manageable goals helps build confidence and clarity about where you're going. Small success experiences foster self confidence. Setting realistic objectives and acknowledging process reinforces self worth and motivation. And that's why celebrating is so important. It's a beautiful act of self love and self compassion. And it also reinforces your self confidence and is acknowledging your progress. It reinforces your self worth and your motivation, and it keeps you moving forward towards things. A lot of us, myself included, will do things like I have this goal, and when I get really close to achieving it or I achieve it, up, I put the bar higher so that I'm never actually achieving the goal because I'm constantly moving the bar away from myself. And I never celebrate and I never achieve the goal. And that causes a lot of anxiety because at some point you get to a place where the bar is not working anymore, or you never celebrate your wins, what you've done. And that's part of this negative self talk. If you never celebrate all the great things that you do, you tend to concentrate on all the negative things that you do, which is just a natural biological human condition called the negativity bias. And it's just a mechanism to keep you safe that is a little bit out of control sometimes, and we have to reel it back in. So we are just naturally predispositioned to look towards the negative things if we aren't making a point of noticing the positive things. Here's a small way you can use this an exercise. Decide on a small goal. Maybe it's reading a book for 15 minutes or taking a walk. And when you accomplish it, pause and celebrate. The celebration doesn't have to be this huge thing where you go buy a cake or anything like that. But of course, do that if you want to do that. But it could be just the positive self talk. Hey, I did it. Yay. Wow. That's great. I have been walking 15 minutes a day for the past week, for the past 2 weeks, for the past 3 days. Wow. That is such an accomplishment in comparison to last week when I didn't walk at all. Or you can celebrate it with small little things too, treats or prizes or special thing, whatever it is. There's all different kinds of ways to celebrate and celebrate in the way that really makes you feel empowered and enriched. Okay, the fifth way to work on your negative self talk is to connect with others and build positive support. Now, I touched on this a little bit with the buddies and mentor system. But self love thrives when intertwined with connection. Sharing with others reminds us that we're not alone. This is why having the buddy or a mentor or a BFF or being in a community that's working towards the same goals as you are can be really empowering. And it reminds you that you're not alone because you will see other people also having challenges. When you start to feel alone in your challenges is the doorway for all this negative self-criticism and self-talk and beating yourself up and just going down that road of feeling worthless and that you don't matter. Building supportive social network and reaching out to friends underpins self-esteem and emotional health. Giving kindness, for example, small acts of generosity, boost your endorphins and your mood. So it's not just that you create communities so that you can get what you need out of them, but the act of giving and helping others is so powerful. It's so healing. It's really wonderful. And when you can help somebody else, you feel so good about yourself. And it just creates connections and bonds so that you feel confident leaning on others when you need to. So the act with this is share affirmations with a friend, build a creative playlist together, or simply check in with someone you care about. It's about figuring out ways to how can you show others you care in small ways, and how can you work with somebody who is also working through the same challenges. How can you support one another? Maybe it's sharing affirmations. Maybe it's journaling together. Maybe it's creating a playlist. Maybe it's checking in. Maybe it's just simply helping the next door neighbor with their groceries when you see it. We've covered 5 accessible, heart-centered ways to be good to yourself, to practice self-compassion, to use affirmations and to reframe negative thoughts, to make a self-care habit, to set and celebrate small goals, and to connect kindly with others. Remember, these aren't add-ons to another endless to-do list that you have. They are the list. Choose one and try it today because you're worth it. Just what can you do today, right now, to show yourself a little self-love and self-compassion? There's so many things you can do. So I want to thank you all for being here. And if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and share this episode of I Care About You with somebody who needs this gentle reminder. And frankly, it's actually a lot of us. The majority of us have challenges with negative self-talk, self-love, and self-compassion. And as I always say here, we're a community at I Care About You, and we're here to help each other. So whatever you can do to help someone else, and even helping yourself, as Ram Dass says, the greatest gift we can give people is to work on ourselves. And I so believe that to be true. My dear friend, know that I love you, and I support you. And you got this. You can throw yourself a little love. You deserve it. You matter. You're needed. And I am so happy and thankful to you for showing up today. Take good care, my friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Hi, everyone. It's me. I just wanted to remind you about my book, Reasons to Live, which is out now. It's all about how to help yourself and help others through dark times and suicidal thoughts and ideology. There's a lot of tools in there that will really help you if you are struggling with challenging times or thoughts of suicide. Please remember that there's a national hotline, 988, that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if you are struggling and you need help. I'll put a link to the book in the description for you. It's always there. It's available everywhere. Please pick one up if you need it and share it with somebody who might also need it. Thank you very much. I wish you all the care